All right, now that we have spent some time reflecting and learning more about who we are as work employees through the Big Five personality test, I hope you found that helpful. We're going to finish up our time talking about effective teams by looking at the last two characteristics of effective teams, and then talking through some realities on being a team player, and then we'll close our time together thinking through when we should use teams and maybe when we shouldn't. So in terms of work design, think through some of these options. Right? When you're thinking of the design of the work that this team is going to be engaging in, this could be a virtual team, this could be a cross-functional team, a self-managed team, a problem-solving team. How much freedom and autonomy is appropriate for this team? If it's a team that maybe has a long track record, maybe you give them a longer leash on some freedom and autonomy. If it's a brand new team, maybe you manage them a little bit more closely. Even a newly created self-managed team may need some help getting the ball rolling on everyone kind of fitting into their role and their spot on the team. In this picture on the slide, you want all of these people to be working together towards the goal of making it down the river and staying in the boat or staying on the raft. You want to make sure that your teams have the right amount of freedom and autonomy to match their skill level, to match their longevity, and to match the work that they are trying to do on the tasks that they're given. Then skill variety. Make sure that the work design, the goals, take advantage of the skills that you have brought together. When you're thinking through what's the practical nuts and bolts, the what exactly do you want this team to do, pull in the variety of skills that you have. Don't leave things on the table simply because you haven't thought through them. If there's another team that is better suited to take advantage of one or two team member skills, then maybe you leave that off strategically. But don't let skills go unutilized or underutilized simply from a lack of thought and strategy. And then task identity. Make sure that the skills that you have match the tasks that are being asked of, and make sure that those are really well communicated to the team. Make sure that the goals, the why, what's going on in the work design process and the team process, what they're aiming for, make sure those are clear, make sure those are measurable, make sure there's easy ways to have measures of success for the team. And then task significance. You want to really make sure that the team members have a good elevated view of why this task that they're doing is significant. One example I'll give, again, I told you I was going to refer back to that team I'm on, that task team for the admission software, why it's significant. And I was telling my wife just today, she is very patient with me and hears my work stuff far too often. I should probably work on that. But she heard me just saying today that one of the reasons why this change in software is going to have such an impact for us is that it is going to free up time for 3 to 4 different departments, where instead of having to put people in the system manually, they're going to be able to click a button and our admission software is going to talk to our database, and it's going to load that person in automatically. So there's going to be a reduction in human error. There's going to be a reduction in wasted time from these employees. Those are significant things for the organization, for the employees, and that, to me, elevates this task and its significance for what we're doing. So we want to, as we manage teams, make sure that we elevate the task significance. That way there is some built-in cohesiveness and joy in being a part of the team. So then we move to process, right? We want to talk through, this is the how. So we've laid the foundation, we've made sure we got the right people, we've identified what work we want them doing and kind of the goals that are in mind, and make sure that the skills and the tasks match those goals. Now, what exactly are they going to be doing? So in the first part of the process, we want to make sure that the members of the team are committed. Right? Like, start with that. Start with making sure that the team members are committed to the work at hand. Then there's an establishment of specific team goals. You've gone through and you've communicated those, and you keep those in front of the team consistently. That way they are reminded about what they are working towards. Team efficacy, or making the team effective, is going to be a process as a team forms and comes together and goes through some of the storming phase and across the board. But make some small initial successes. Give some small baby step goals that the team can meet and hit, and then start branching those into some of the broader, bigger picture things, because you can see how the team responds to meeting goals, what the reward system needs to be, what different things need to be in place that the team might continue to push forward and start to really see that output multiplying larger than the individual inputs. You want to manage the level of conflict. You want to make sure that the team is functioning well. Conflict really can present friction and take eyes off of the goal and onto interpersonal differences. So that's where some of the selection things can be so important at the beginning. But make sure that you're managing that well and not letting conflict get in the way of the team processing through towards the work goals. And then you want to minimize social loafing. That has such a negative effect on the team outlook, the team's efficiency, the team's output. So if you can minimize that both through proactive means and reactive means, then your team will be better for it. So in this, one of the things when we talk about managing social loafing, or minimizing social loafing, managing conflict, so much of those things can be minimized on the front end by getting team players. And so when you're thinking about bringing a team together, don't just look at the technical skills, but think about whether this person has the interpersonal skills and the personality and the commitment to be a team player, somebody that works not for their own individual gain, but for the gain of the team. Some of this, especially in the U.S., can be buried beneath levels of individualism. We in America prize being fiercely independent. And so being a team player kind of rubs against that training that so many of us have received. And so we want to go through and dig a little bit to see, does this person at their root, at who they are they a team player by nature? That's going to save us so much in the process. If they are a team player and you do select them to bring them onto a team, then go through training to minimize or counteract that individualism that we can often be drawn to in our flesh. Have that training focus on problem solving and communication, negotiation, conflict management, coaching skills, those things that I think will really bring out the team player that's at the root of this person. If it's already an established team, this training can also help maybe shift some folks that aren't naturally team players to make them more of a team player in the short term, while you evaluate how effective this team's being and whether changes need to be made. And then Don't assume that people naturally want to be team players, but reward them when they're doing well. Reward the cooperative effort rather than the individual competitive backbiting one. When a team's functioning well, when the teammates are functioning well together, make sure to reward that over and above individual successes as a team. And then lastly, we want to talk about, is a team the answer? It isn't always. Sometimes a team is the definitive answer, where it's obvious. The admissions software change is clearly a team task and not an individual task. But there are other things that occur within an organization, like maybe revamping a process, maybe changing how you do something or what software you use for a smaller project that can oftentimes be individual in terms of that decision making. So think through critically, with a critical eye, is a team the answer? So some questions you can ask. Can the work be done better by more than one person? Can the work be done better, both in quality and in efficiency, if more than one person are working on this versus a single individual? If a single individual is the right answer, then get the best individual you can to accomplish that task. If a team is the answer, then start crafting an effective, well thought out team to meet that goal. Does the work that's being talked about create a common purpose or set of goals for the people in the group that is more than the aggregate of individual goals? Essentially, is there going to be a cause that this team can rally around that's bigger than any piece that the individual people might think about or how it might affect them individually? Make sure that goal is big enough, that goal is significant enough to be kind of a rallying point, a common purpose for the team. And then, are the members of the group interdependent? Otherwise, it's just a work group. But make sure that there is enough there to warrant having a team in place versus a work group. That there is interdependence, there is reliance upon one another to accomplish the task. That it's not just 5 people or 10 people working individually, but that they are dependent on one another to all come together and accomplish this task. If the answer is yes to these 3 things, then a team is likely the answer. Where if one or more of these is a no, then really evaluate whether an individual or a group or a different structure might better suit the task at hand. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that you have had a chance to learn more about yourself through some reflection. We're going to do a little bit more reflection on our next discussion post, and then we'll close out the week. And starting on Monday, we'll begin talking about teams more in earnest. Thanks, y'all. Bye.